Greater Media Broadcast News.
Welcome to another edition of Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Xie reporting this week's top headlines. Our main story this week involves a proposed natural gas pipeline off the Jersey coast that is facing some opposition from environmental activists. A public hearing held on June 10th about the Port Ambrose pipeline brought federal and Liberty Natural Gas officials face-to-face with activists from Clean Ocean Action and Sierra Club. While the potential pipeline would import natural gas from nations such as Trinidad and Tobago, critics believe it may be used to export gas acquired by using a controversial procedure called fracking. The public has until August 22nd to weigh in on the project. Let's turn to Keith Hugh Miller for more information on the issue.
Port Ambrose is the latest attempt by Liberty Natural Gas to build a natural gas port on the East Coast. Liberty sought approval for a similar port 16 miles off the coast of Asbury Park back in 2010, but the project was ultimately vetoed by Governor Chris Christie. The current plans, if approved by the Federal Maritime Administration, would bring a deep water port 24 miles off the coast of Long Branch. Liberty would also install approximately 20 miles of subsea natural gas pipe along the ocean floor. Hundreds of residents, area activists, and environmental organizations have already pledged their opposition to the project. Last week, one group, Clean Ocean Action, hosted a citizens hearing in Seabright to give even more Jersey Shore residents the opportunity to weigh in. Congressman Frank Pallone, Seabright Mayor Dina Long, and other elected officials joined a crowd of more than 50 on the borough's waterfront, calling on Christie to veto the project once again. State Senator Jennifer Beck vowed to introduce an official resolution opposing the port and called on representatives throughout New York and New Jersey to do the same. Sean Dixon, coastal policy attorney for Clean Ocean Action, said the Jersey Shore is now the front line of a national debate over the future of America's energy policy. Our waters, he said, can either be the home of renewable sources of energy, such as wind farms, or the newest home of the fossil fuel industry. Those interested in weighing in for themselves can visit www.regulations.gov and post an official comment.
Thank you, Keith. What's a great way to get kids to eat their vegetables? Teach them how to grow a garden. A large number of schools in our area have been interested in implementing school gardens, but some have been around for many years. Amy Rosen takes us to a garden in Edison that has been flourishing for the past 10 years.
There's a lot more than just great minds being nurtured at the Martin Luther King School in Edison. Behind the school lies a garden that, with the help of now retired second-grade teacher Louise Lippy, who started the garden 10 years ago, teaches children how to grow vegetables that help feed the hungry in the community.
This is our 10th year of doing this garden. The Hands of Hope Food Bank is down in South Edison, and that's where the food goes. And they have 150 families which they help out. So this is a very worthwhile project.
With the help of Lippy, student volunteers, and fellow educator Frank Rottinger, as well as one grandma named Alka Patel, a bountiful harvest of cabbages was picked from the ground and prepared for delivery to the Hands of Hope Food Bank to help feed the hungry.
It's not just like for the fun of it, it's also knowing that a small sacrifice like just a few hours can help a lot of people. All of the food here is going for people who are struggling to get meals.
Another cucumber?
In addition to cabbages, the garden will provide squash, zucchini, cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, and beans.
So long. Happy gardening. Bye-bye. It was our pleasure. Throw a kiss goodbye.
This month marks the 60th anniversary of the Korean War. As local veterans look back on those 3 years that were seemingly overshadowed by World War II and Vietnam, they remind us that the Korean conflict was anything but the forgotten war. North Brunswick resident and U.S. Army veteran Richard Pender is authoring a book about the war. He implores future generations to remember that the sacrifices made were in the name of freedom. And now we have Mark Rosman with a few headlines from this week's papers.
Thank you, Susie. I invite readers to check out the news transcript in the Tri-Town News this week for an article about a piece of legislation that is expected to come before the full Senate in Trenton. This legislation, put forth by several senators, would require that New Jersey school districts come up with a written policy describing the proper way that students and staff members would be able to communicate electronically through such things as cell phones, email, and other devices. The senators don't want to do anything to hinder the use of technology in our schools, but they certainly understand that in this emerging area, there are improper ways that communication occurs, and they want school districts to have a way which sets forth the rules for students and staff members to communicate. Some school districts in New Jersey already have a policy in place. Many, however, do not. There are almost 600 school districts in New Jersey, and this would certainly be something that would be added to their plate if it were to become law.
What started out in a backyard in East Brunswick and has grown into a worldwide event? Here's Tom Castles to tell us about Moth Week.
All right, let me tell you a few things that I didn't know about moths. 1, I didn't know that there were so many species of moths and that so many of them could be found right here in New Jersey. 2, I didn't know that the natural history of the moth is notoriously incomplete. That is to say, we don't really know too much about them. 3, I didn't know that there's a growing population of citizen scientists doing their part to fill in the gaps left behind by centuries of scientific indifference towards moths. And 4, I definitely didn't know that mothing is the new birding. Let's see what our citizen scientists are up to now. Founder of the Friends of the East Brunswick Environmental Commission, Liti Haramati, and David Moskowitz of Ecosciences, Inc. started Moth Nights in East Brunswick back in 2005. The insect aficionado duo used a titillating mix of rotting fruit, sugar water, and alcohol to attract the winged insects, and hung bed sheets from trees lit in bright UV lights to provide them with a place to rest. 8 years down the road, and Moth Night is now Moth Week, and local residents are as much a part of the event as the moths themselves. Many residents arrive and take photos of the moths, which they submit to different biological and entomological organizations, who use data from the photos to tie together many of the loose ends involved in the study of moths, or lepidopterology as our moth-loving neighbors call it. Moth Week has expanded from a few backyards in East Brunswick to 50 states and 29 countries across the globe. If you're interested in finding a Moth Week hotspot in your area, stop by www.nationalmothweek.org.
In other important headlines, a South Amboy man admitted to his role in a stolen vehicle ring in Middlesex County. The operation made more than $500,000 by stealing over 100 vehicles and selling their parts. The state will recommend that 33-year-old Jose Lopez be sentenced to 15 years in prison. Lopez will be sentenced in September. A study by the Blousing School of Public Policy at Rutgers will show Sayreville what its flood-prone areas will look like in 5, 10, or even 35 years from now. Multiple studies will come together to give the borough several options of what can be done with areas that flood often. The project is expected to be completed by the fall of 2014. We've heard of people dancing in their underwear, but what about running in their underwear? Well, people of all ages are expected to do just that at the Indy 5000 5K this weekend in Long Branch. The event supports the Colon Cancer Alliance, and participants are encouraged to wear family-friendly, underwear-themed outfits this Saturday. Nobody knows more about local sports than Tim Morris, our sports editor at Greater Media Newspapers. This week, he has baseball on his mind. Here's Tim.
Area Little League teams are busy this week, competing at the District 19 tournament, looking to qualify for the upcoming Eastern Regional Championships at Freehold Township Little League that begins on August the 3rd. Everyone playing Little League baseball now has one goal: to play in the World Series. Junior League teams took the first step at this week's District 19 tournament, where the winner automatically qualifies for the Eastern Regional Championship that begins August the 3rd and is hosted by the Freehold Township Little League. Freehold Township's juniors, here in blue, beat Colts Neck in an early district tournament game to get a leg up on the competition. The regional champion in Freehold Township will punch their ticket to the Junior League World Series, which is in Taylor, Michigan, starting on August the 11th.
What's your status? Greater Media Newspapers, in conjunction with Hand Drawn Marketing, is offering 2 exciting free seminars on the use and benefits of Facebook and Twitter. These free seminars will be held on Tuesday, August 6th and 13th in our Manalapan office. Stay ahead of the competition and join us. For additional information and to reserve your spot, please call 732-833-5100. Hand Drawn Marketing is a full-service marketing agency. Hand Drawn Marketing delivers creative strategies to build brands, raise awareness, and deliver the maximum results. Get something hand-drawn for you today.
This is Susie Shea with Greater Media Newspapers. For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, please see our papers or visit us online at gmnews.com.